You write, reincarnation is an idea that's hard to see at first, but once seen, it changes everything. What allowed you to see it at first?
Ian Stevenson's research. He was at the University of Virginia. He's considered the Charles Darwin of reincarnation thought. His research, about 11 books published documenting in detail studies children from around the world who have spontaneous memories of their previous lives. And he was able to get to them, document their memories, verify their memories, or falsify, and published multiple books. And that just turned my mind around. And then later, as I began to move into my own self-exploration, both in the LSD work and also with hypnotherapy, I encountered a number of my own former lives and worked with them. So it was both a personal experiential encounter, but first it was an intellectual encounter with Ian Stevenson's work.
Dr. Ian Stevenson's work and the continuing work at the Division of Perceptual Studies at University of Virginia has been really part of the inspiration behind this special series at Sounds True, exploring reincarnation. And we have two different guests included in the series who are part of the Division of Perceptual Studies, which brings me to the next question. 3,000 documented stories, very compelling research. Why is this hard to see for so many of us?
It's hard to see, first of all, because the effects of reincarnation are subtle. The ending of a life at death is definitive. The beginning of appearing of life at birth is kind of clear, but the carryover continuities of reincarnation are subtle. But I think the most important reason that it's hard for many of us to see it is because basically science is the religion of our era. And science in its early stages has been wedded to a concept that matter is the only thing that's real. There is nothing in the universe that we can't explain except reducing it to its material substrate. And this belief basically tells us that it suggests that our mind basically is generated by our brain, and when our brain disappears, our mind disappears too, like a light bulb that goes out. And so with this belief that everything is material, that there is no independent spiritual universe, and with the belief that our mind reduces to brain, then we basically undercut any possibility of allowing the existence of reincarnation because it assumes a parallel dimension of spiritual reality. And that makes it hard for my colleagues, for example, in the department where I talk. It's very hard for them to really even look at the evidence seriously because they have such countervailing belief systems.
And then we get to the final part of this quote, which is really the most important to me. Once seen, it changes everything. And I want to talk about that because I'm noticing even now as we're going deeper into the interviews in this series, impacts that it's having on how I view my life, a level of relaxation that's starting to come in that previously was unknown. And I'm curious how you, in your own life, this taking on of a reincarnationist view instead of, as you call it, a one-timer's perspective, how it's changed things for you. Big question.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of spin-offs on that question. It does change everything. And as you live within a reincarnational worldview and kind of think through it and live through it and apply it to your life circumstances, it deepens. And so what stands out in the early years is different from what stands out in the later years. And it all hinges, I think, upon an understanding that we have a vast quantity of time in which to live and develop and grow within the universe. We aren't simply a 100-year-old project adjunct to the universe's multi-billion year project, but we are actually ancient beings who have been reincarnating for millennia, hundreds of thousands of years. And as such, we are part of the universe's extensive development. Now, as a philosopher, that means a great deal to me, because when I look at the magnificent photographs coming out of the Hubble or other space telescopes, and I see this magnificent universe, massive and vast in its depth and beauty. If I only live one time through, I basically am a part-time player in this. I'm a sideshow in this universe. But once we understand that nature and the intelligence within and behind nature has found a way not only to evolve whole species, as we think in evolution, but to evolve individuals within certain species, as in human beings, then I think we have it just is a new starting point. It's a new starting point. It changes your understanding of your identity, because as beautiful and as important as our individual body, mind awareness is, our ego is, it's just one facet of the diamond that the soul is. There are other facets we can encounter, we can meet, and which we will become part of this larger diamond as we die, or even as we wake up on this planet. It changes your relationships to your children. So you stop seeing them as somehow an extension of your genetic and your wife's genetic heritage. You begin to see that your genetic matrix is a nest which catches an incoming soul. And so the child that you're holding may be thousands of years older than you are in a soul perspective. And so I don't see children as children anymore, and I don't see old people as old people anymore. I tend to think in terms of souls, and there are some children who are very old souls and some adults who are very young souls in their foolishness. So to me, it's a fresh starting point. It also speaks to, of course, always paired with reincarnation is the concept of karma, of cause and effect, and that there is a cause and effect that derives from the choices that we make in our extended lives, that those choices carry over and set up the conditions within which I'm living in this lifetime. And then when you explore the data more carefully, you learn that there is a great deal of evidence that suggests that we choose the life that we are born into. And that makes an enormous difference, because when we look at our life, and it may be a life of pain and suffering, it may be of unexpected hardship, it may be a life of ease, to understand that we chose this life at a time when we knew more than we know now. We chose this life. That tends to deepen our commitment to working with the conditions of this life, trusting in a deeper intelligence that brought us into these circumstances. So to me, it's an absolutely fresh starting point in philosophy. I mean, it really, your whole philosophical insights diverge between the one road which says we only incarnate once, and another road which says, no, we incarnate many times. They go in very different directions.
Discover on-demand videos and docuseries, explore a full schedule of daily life classes, and become part of an incredible community. At Sounds True One, we invite you inward to find your way your way.